Good morning and welcome to today's live lesson. Main course of Paddington, a quick review of Unit 8, and of course we flash back to Unit 7 to talk about passive voice as well. As you can see on the screen, the title is going to be about verb patterns and, as I said, a review of passive voice in English, specifically causative and non-causative passive, that I want to talk about it by details. But let's talk about verb patterns in English. As you know, there are different forms that a verb in English can appear. And today we focus on three main forms that verb can appear in different parts of a sentence: gerund, infinitive, and of course base form of the verb. Before talking about gerund and infinitive, what is base form? It's clear. A verb that doesn't have to, doesn't have ing or any other prefix or suffix is called base form of the verb, and we will use it in different kind of circumstances like conditionals, like even simple present as well. But what is gerund and infinitive? In gerund, we add ing at the end of the verb, and infinitive is a kind of a form of the verb that we add to at the beginning of that. But you might ask, what is the reason that we need to add ing at the end of the verb or to at the beginning of the verb, and in which kind of circumstances we are allowed to use any of them? Let's start focusing on infinitive, means to plus verb, and then we go through other details. Well, normally, as you know, in English, we can't put two verbs beside each other without making change in second verb. So, whenever there are two verbs in English beside each other, the second verb should take some changes. Some verbs like want, promise, and many others, after them, the verb should get to, so it appears in infinitive form. I want to go to the cafe after the lesson, or the other one, I promise to study more. After want and promise, verb appeared with infinitive form. The other one, normally a verb doesn't appear necessarily after another verb. Sometimes it happens that we have verb after other words, like here, adjectives. So, if we want to use a verb after adjective, it should appear in infinitive form. It is difficult to speak Chinese, or it is easy to learn English. And the third one, sometimes you want to talk about the reason of something. Then, talking about the reason should make the verb appear in infinitive form. Why do you come to class? I come to class to learn English. As you can see, the reason of coming to class is learning. So I used infinitive form to make it more emphatic and talk about the reason. Let's jump to gerund form, verb plus ing. Well, as want and promise that we had for infinitive, here we have enjoy, hate, and many other verbs that after them the verb gets ing. I enjoy playing the piano, or I hate being late for my appointments. Here, because of the verbs, the second verb turned to be in gerund form. As infinitive that, we had verbs after some other words like adjective, here it happens that we have verb after prepositions. So, when we want to use a verb after preposition, it should appear in gerund form. I'm good at speaking. She is worried about passing the driving test. As you can see, speaking and passing appeared after preposition, and that's why we have gerund form of the verb. Using verb as a subject. I just want to explain in brief about it. Sometimes it happens that we don't have a subject for the sentence. So we want to start the sentence by using a verb. But that sentence is not going to be an order sentence. What is order sentence? Open the door, close the window. Here we are going to start a sentence by a verb, but not in order. Then we add ing to the end of the verb, and it appears in gerund form. Listening to music in the morning is wonderful. As you can see, that ing has changed the tone, the music of the sentence. It is not listen to music and order. It is a general suggestion or recommendation. As you know, in English there are a lot of exceptions. So we have exceptions in gerund and infinitive as well. How can that exception be? Well, sometimes it happens that after some collection of verbs, we can have both gerund form of the verb or infinitive. So how? The main and the only reason will be the meaning that we get from the sentence. The most common ones are remember, forget, try, and need. And we take a look step by step. For remember and forget, the rule is exactly the same. Just I want to explain in brief and then we go to the examples. If one action happened first and now you remember or you forget it, the verb gets ing. I repeat, if one action happened first and then you remember or forget it, the verb after that gets ing. Look at this example. I remember meeting you for the first time. Well, maybe our first meeting goes back to 5 years ago, but still I remember. Then the action of meeting happened in the past and now I remember that action. That's why meet appears in gerund form, because as I said, the action happened in the past. The other example, I never forget going to the concert together 2 years ago. 2 years ago we went to a concert, we enjoyed a lot, and I never forget that. So the action of going to the concert happened in the past, and now I try to keep it in my mind and don't forget it. That's why the verb appears in gerund form. Maybe other examples can help you understand it better. If the action is going to happen after remember or forget, then the verb gets to or appears in infinitive form. Remember to lock the door. Right now you remember to do something after that. Unlike first two sentences that the action was before, here the action is going to happen after that. That's why it appears in infinitive. The other example, don't forget to do your homework. Don't forget to do something after that. And that's why again we have infinitive. For remember and forget, the rule was the same. But for others, like try, the meaning of the verb is decisive. Try can have different meanings, like test and experiment, or even effort. If try means testing something, experimenting something, the verb after that gets ing. Imagine you brought your laptop to the school or to the class, but it doesn't work. Then I say, try plugging in. Maybe it doesn't have, let's say, enough charge. So try plugging in. Test it. Maybe it works. That's why the verb after try gets ing, because the meaning of try here is not attempt. It is testing something. But if it means attempt, then the verb gets to. I tried to call you, but I couldn't. So here we are focusing on an effort, an attempt to do something. That's why the verb gets to. Next verb is need. 99% of the circumstances, the verb after need gets to. I need to study harder. It is a kind of a necessity. But if we want to use need in a passive form that you have covered last lesson, and we've talked about it by details, then the verb can appear in ing form. Well, my car needs a washing. Who's going to wash my car is not clear in the sentence, and that's a passive sentence. So that's why after need we used the gerund form of the verb. Now we want to jump on the other topic. If you remember last lesson, the time that we were talking about passive voices, we had a quick view on, let's say, causative passive as well. We want to take a look one more time, and then I talk about another branch of causative passive, which is called non-causative passive. It is not in your book, but you can count on it as a bonus that we want to give it to you. Have something done. You remember the story, going to Paris, then asking someone to take a photo. And then I'm going to show you the photo. What is important? The photo, not the person who took the photo. The photographer is not important. But because I am the cause that that guy took a photo of me, I am always in the sentence. So the sentence was, I had my photo taken. Here, have is our main verb, and if we want to talk about past, it changes to had. For future, will have or going to have. I had my photo taken. That's a causative passive. What is I? It is not the actor, the person who did it. It is the cause of that action. Or I will have my hair cut. Again, the person, the barber man, is not in the sentence. But I'm going to be a person who asked the guy to cut my hair. We have a new branch of it which is called non-causative passive. Is it different? Well, the structure is not different at all. It is exactly like this one. Have something done. But the meaning can decide, is it causative or non-causative? If you remember in these two sentences, the first word, which is I, is the cause of that sentence. But in this sentence, she had her car stolen. Somebody came and stole her car. Is she the reason that her car is stolen? Of course not. Did she pay money to someone to steal her car? Of course not. So because the meaning doesn't show that she is the cause of that action, we call it non-causative. So the only difference between causative and non-causative is the meaning of the sentence. Another example. Imagine a friend of yours went to play football and his leg is broken. Then he comes to class and says, well, I had my leg broken. Did he put his leg in a corner and ask someone to break it? Of course not. So he says, well, he had his leg broken. That is non-causative again, because he is not the reason of, let's say, breaking his leg. So I repeat one more time. The structure for both causative and non-causative is the same. The only difference is the meaning that decides, well, it's going to be causative or non-causative. As I said, causative one is in your book, but non-causative is not, but you can keep it as a bonus from us. Very good. Another short lesson. I hope it was useful for you. And, well, of course, we'll be in touch with you by giving you a lot of worksheets. And thank you for watching and listening. Have a good day.